Whoa, time to do some Assassin's Creed Empire barrel scraping. I have no fucking idea if I've covered this already. I don't think I have. But if there's something in games that's going to get your blood pumping, it has to be the soundtrack. If the game fails to get the soundtrack right, a lot of the feeling that the game could have is gone. Which is why it needs to appeal to the fans a lot more than other things might have to. So, although it does seem like barrel scraping, it is definitely a speculation topic that should not be overlooked. So what features are crucial to the soundtrack being successful and good enough to create the mood that you want? First of all, it needs to fit the genre. Second of all, it has to fit the mood. It also has to reflect the protagonist. And also it needs to reflect the setting. But most importantly, it can't be shit. So there are just a few of the buttons that the soundtrack needs to hit to create the right feel for a game. And when the game feels right, that's when it starts to feel good. If you can't nail the soundtrack, it won't work and the game won't be good. So when you think about it, a game's score is very, very vital to how the game is and how successful it is. You're probably thinking, it's just the soundtrack. It can't possibly be that important, it's just music. But that music is meant to create the tone, the atmosphere. It does all these things. It creates the atmosphere, it creates the mood, it gives you the feels, the vibes. It's the thing that gives you chills. It's the things that make you like the opening intro to things like Assassin's Creed 2. Subconsciously, the music is swaying your opinion on what you think about the game. If the music makes your blood pump and makes it feel really, 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 really good and you want to invest yourself in the game, then it's a good soundtrack and therefore you enjoy the game because the soundtrack makes the story feel so much better than it might actually be. But if the soundtrack is bad, if the soundtrack's bad, you don't really think it has that power that some opening scenes do, and so on and so forth. It can be applied to any scene whatsoever, but opening scenes, for example, if the music is good in the opening scene, 9 times out of 10 you'll be like, fuck, that's great, I want to play more. But if it's bad, you think, fuck. How can the soundtrack work in Assassin's Creed Empire, though, is the question we're trying to answer in this video. So basically, it's set in ancient Egypt. It needs to have that vibe about it, and it needs to feel like it fits the setting, for one. It also needs to fit the character, as I said before. Now that doesn't mean slip Ezio's theme into there a little bit. I mean, people do it with every single Assassin's Creed game these days. Ubisoft are always doing it. They're putting in a little bit of the Ezio theme. Now that's Ezio's theme. That reflects Ezio, and that does not reflect the other assassins. That does not reflect their character, and that's what they've gone wrong. Not that it's bad, it sets quite a nice tone, trust me, and it's kind of the Assassin's Creed theme now, but it used to belong to Ezio, and it used to work for Ezio, and it doesn't really work for the other characters as well. However, I suppose that with the flick of the setting of which the game is in, like the time period, sort of gives you that uniqueness, I suppose, and makes you able to use that. However, I don't personally think it's a great idea to put it in everything. However, with games like Assassin's Creed Rogue, it worked. So Ubisoft will ideally be trying to variate form of the Ezio theme with an ancient Egyptian flick. That's my theory. Now, somebody did a fan-made Assassin's Creed Empire theme, and it's actually really, really, really good, so everyone for sure check that out. There will be a link in the description. Now, I recommend you listen to that before watching the rest of this, because that makes you think how the soundtrack could really enhance the experience and how the Assassin's Creed flick with the Egyptian setting could in fact work. Like I said before though, it not only needs to complement the setting, it needs to complement the character, his personality, what he's like, how he does it, you know, but I could go on about that all day. Of course the soundtrack's not going to be one song, and there could be some good soundtracks, some bad ones, as in you could have some good tracks, some bad ones. However, if you can get good all round or great all round, that's even better. You need to create that atmosphere and you need to sustain it in every single track. So that means that you need to sustain the atmosphere when in chases, when in tailing missions, when in stealth, when in combat. They need to really sustain the soundtrack about the setting more than the character, and the main theme and the themes about the character need to reflect the character as well and stay in the themes. As for the modern day, the soundtrack for that's got to be reflecting the modern day theme and sort of the ancient Egyptian theme at the same time, sort of have that reflection of the theme with modern or futuristic twists in there, I don't know, like some shitty dubstep version. No, I mean like how in Assassin's Creed 3 they had the chase themes and stuff in Assassin's Creed 3, and then when in Abstergo and places like that you had modern themes as well that were sort of similar. Okay, fair play, this video is patronising quite a bit, especially if the devs are watching this like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? We know this shit, but I'm just laying it out. It's what we need, it's what we want. We need a soundtrack that's really, really good and reflects the game and the setting and the characters and the world, in a sense that, you know, it feels like Assassin's Creed, but it feels unique. That's what we need. Okay, I have no idea what I'm actually talking about. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to comment what you want from the soundtrack and whether or not you think it's as crucial as I do, and comment what you think. Also go ahead and check out that soundtrack I mentioned before, the fan-made Assassin's Creed Empire one. That's really, really good. Go check them out and see what the other stuff is like. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead and like, subscribe, share, comment. I'll see you all in the next one, another video. So yeah, so guys.